We're going to be installing these secondary cat delete pipes to add a little bit more sound to the Boxster. So I got it up on some jacks here. It doesn't fit on my quick jacks. So underneath I got the bolts. These bolts sprayed with some WD-40. I'm all out of anything better to help with the rust. So just WD-40 for now, spraying these two. Same on the other side. Looks like that side has been off. They're not angled in the same way this side. So one side has been off before. Then we got these bolts here, sprayed those. And then we have 3 on the connections where the secondary pipes, secondary cats connect to the primary cats up there. So got those all sprayed down. I'm going to try to break them loose and see what happens. All right, underneath the car, I have these all sprayed. I put a wrench on most of the bolts now. These came loose pretty easily. These came loose. The ones up front, 2 on each side have snapped off. Not sure I'm going to get to the top one on this side. Looks like I can get to the top one on this side. So we'll see what I have to do for those 2. So 2 of the bolts on each side. We have this bolt pressed in here to where you just take off the nut. And then the top one, you take the bolt out. The nut is actually welded onto the exhaust manifolds where the primary caps are. So with that one, you have to take the bolt out. Bottom 2, you have to take the nut off the bolt. Now, unfortunately, on the passenger side, here, the nut, or the bolt snapped off. So I have a bolt here stuck in, it's snapped off. This side came off clean, so we'll be able to mount that up nicely. But this side snapped off. So I'm going to have to try to take that guy out. I'm sure it's gonna be a pain. For that bolt up top there on the passenger side, see if the torch can help me out and see if I can grab onto the bolt with that, what's left of it, once it's heated up. All right, that didn't work. Sucker's still on there. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is cut it off and then drill it through. Since I had to drill out this bolt, I'm going to have to grind off this nut here. So I had to take off the primary cat, and I'll take a grinder to this guy, grind it smooth, and that's okay to cut that off because with the new hardware, we have bolts and nuts for it, 6 of them. So on the driver's side, we'll just use the bolt. It'll thread right into the nut welded onto the primary cat. And on this side, we'll have to use the bolt and the nut. Use the grinder to cut the bolt off, and then clean it up. Nicked the edge here. It's a little uneven, but it shouldn't be too bad. Seal goes on this side, obviously, so shouldn't be a problem. Now I need to get that sucker back on with the gasket, and then we can finally install the secondary cat delete pipes. They didn't really add much sound, so I went ahead and did what I think the internet's calling the Krios mod, which if you can see in here, I drilled 2 holes through the exhaust there. And that allows exhaust to bypass some of the muffler baffling and come straight out. That made a pretty big difference in sound, but it doesn't sound that great. It's kind of sounds like an exhaust leak, sort of what you would expect by doing a mod like that. So I'm hoping with this exhaust we can get a much better sound.